All right, guys, you're welcome to yet another edition of our Football Buffet podcast, where we'll be talking about all things AFCON 2023 with more focus on the Nigerian Super Eagles. Yes, we had the third game of the group, and Nigeria was able to qualify on 7 points. Today, I'm not alone in the studio. I have my usual culprits. I have Toby and I have Paul also in the studio. So we'll be taking you through the preview of that game, which is coming Nigeria versus Cameroon, the round of 16 fixtures. And we're also going to be talking about the last game, which was the game against Guinea-Bissau, right? So I'll start with Toby here today, right? In terms of that result, I know there's been a lot of noise in social media and everywhere. People expected that we should have scored as much as 2, 3, 4 goals in that game, but we only managed to score a goal, which was even an own goal. So in terms of our performance in that game, Toby, talk to me. Do you think we should have scored more goals?
Yeah, glad to be back on the edition of Football Buffet.
Yeah.
Toby, we have to be completely honest. We have to cut the coach some slack. He's done what he's supposed to do, set out the team, and to be fair, he put out a fairly good team. However, we're very wasteful on the day. Osimhen with another big chance, he missed another big chance. Did the same thing in the first game against Equatorial Guinea. Second game against Ivory Coast, he missed a header, from close range, and against Guinea-Bissau, he missed another good chance. He can't blame the coach for that. That's on the players, and it was also unlucky to be because the likes of I think it was Victor, it was Mr. Simon. He had a goal disallowed. Osimhen also had a goal disallowed for handball. Those close calls. If they had gone our way, we could have had 3 to 4 goals on the day, but it wasn't to be. And I'll definitely not be blaming Pacero. He rotated the squad fairly, like we predicted in the previous episode of the podcast. He will be a well-deserved rest. Brought in Aribo. He also brought in Mr. Simon for Mademola Lukman in the defense. He rested the captain to Ekong. Brought in Kenneth Omeru, who put in a decent shift on the day. So on the right, he brought in Bert Osai and switched the line to the left, giving Zaidu Sanusi a well-deserved rest. So the coach, for me, has done the right thing. He's done what he's supposed to do. Rotated the squad fairly. Gave some other boys opportunity, but not scoring more than 1 goal. I wouldn't blame Pacero. We're just unlucky. On another day we could have had 3 to 4 goals. Easily to be.
Yeah, Paul, what do you think about the Nigeria Guinea-Bissau game? What are your thoughts on that game?
When it comes to the match against Nigeria and Guinea-Bissau, I just feel for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, they were a little bit conservative, knowing fully well going into the game, a point will be enough to take the Super Eagles into the knockout stages. And for Guinea-Bissau, they needed to win the game to move into the next round of the competition. So for Nigeria, a little bit conservative, but at the end of the day, kept the large chunk of the players that started the first game against Equatorial Guinea and also start the game against Cote d'Ivoire, the likes of Osimhen. Nigeria created chances, but didn't really take those chances. A couple of goals were chopped off by VAR and the assistant referee. But overall, another profligate performance from the forwards, Chukwueze, also not forgetting Moses Simon and Victor Osimhen. But overall, wasn't a bad performance from the Super Eagles. Defensively, Kenneth Omeru started instead of Trustekon, who is out injured at that point in time, and had a good game alongside Shemi Ajayi and Calvin Bassey once again. Olaimo had a very good game as well. Defensively, we're good. In the middle of the park, the Super Eagles were pretty good as well. Offensively, we seem to always have that problem of scoring goals. Yes, we had a goal scored by Santante, which was an own goal. Maybe Victor Osimhen would have converted if he had not put his leg in front of Victor Osimhen, an own goal. But overall, the Super Eagles weren't bad, and they did well to try as much as possible to nullify the threat of the Guinea-Bissau side. And they got a 1-0 win, but they can do better. Definitely they can do better when it comes to performances, when it comes to scoring goals at this particular competition in African Cup of Nations ongoing in Cote d'Ivoire.
Toby, do you agree with Paul there? He said we're conservative. Do you agree?
Well, Toby, we're a bit conservative. Yes, I agree, and I understand because we know going into the tournament, the biggest weakness in the team is the defense. We understand that we don't have the best defenders in the world, even though we have the best attacking players in Africa, the likes of Osimhen. We know that these are quality. Chukwueze play for AC Milan. as Moses Simon playing for Nantes. You've got Terry Murphy on the bench. You've got Paulo Nacho of Trabzonspor, Kelechi Iheanacho of Leicester City. That is quality. But on the defense line, you've got Semi Ajayi playing in West Bromwich Albion. You've got Trust Ekong, who has been bouncing up and down different clubs from Watford to Udinese now to Panathinaikos in Greece. You've got these guys not so quality. Probably you've got Kevin Bassey as well. So playing two of them in the center of defense has been an issue for the Nigerian team. And I love what the coach is doing, introducing a back three, sometimes making a back five, creating that steel, that solidity, and that assurance in the defense line. Don't forget, Toby, he also brought in the new keeper, Stanley Wabali, and put Uzo on the bench. This needs time to adjust, and that's why he's playing a very conservative style. Reduce the number of shots to face, reduce the number of stress that the defenders have to go through. So doing that, I feel, is the way forward, and then we can now rely on the quality of our attackers to score goals, which have been letting us down, to be fair. And that has nothing to do with the coach, because if these guys keep bearing the chances that they get, we will have been scoring a lot of goals in these games. So being conservative has not stopped us from creating chances. There has been chances in all our games, but our strikers have been very wasteful, and they need to do better. To be the strikers need to start putting these chances away, and then we'll start blowing away our opponents. I think the coach has done well with this new setup, this formation, and sticking to it against a lowly rated Guinea-Bissau team just shows that he believes this is the way forward.
Yeah. Clearly, we need to do better, right? So Paul, are you worried that we are not scoring enough goals? Are you worried?
When it comes to Nigeria's goal scoring problems, the goal scoring problem for me personally is a major issue. This is a major competition. We have one of the best attacking setup personnel going into the Nations Cup. We have quality players when it comes to attackers going into this competition from their respective clubs across Europe, scoring goals and all that. But it seems that the goals are not just coming. Nigeria have created the most number of big chances at this competition. 13. We have created 13 big chances at this competition, more than any other team at this Nations Cup. And we have just converted 2 out of those big chances. So we have missed 11 big chances at this African Cup of Nations. Not good enough. And how are we going to solve it? We're going to solve it by creating more chances and bringing the forwards more into games. I feel for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Victor Osimhen have been profligate in front of goal, but unlike back in the day where our wingers in the 90s score goals, the Amunekes, the Finiti George of this world, not forgetting the Pius Ikedias of this world, the Tijani Babangidas of this world, not even forgetting recently Victor Moses at the 2013 World Nations Cup. This time around, we have the likes of Chukwueze and Ademola Lookman, who score goals at respective clubs in the Serie A. Moses Simon also scored goals for Nantes in the French League. But it seems the style of play, the approach of the Super Eagles is not bringing these wingers more into the game. They come more into the midfield to create chances for Victor Osimhen instead of them themselves playing more on the flank, dribbling the defenders on the flank and cutting into the box and take shots. There were a couple of instances on Monday in the game against Guinea-Bissau where Moses Simon, instead of cutting in to take a shot, was looking to whip in a cross or pass the ball to the center forward Osimhen. I feel these guys should be given the freedom to come in through the flanks and take shots and even create chances for themselves instead of always passing the ball to the center forward. If they do that, I think the wingers, the forwards, like we like to call them these days, will be able to score goals as well and will not be over-reliant on the center forward, Victor Osimhen, who I also feel is isolated up front. Creativity, passes from the middle of the park. The midfield seems to be too far from the center forward because of the formation and the tactics of Jose Pizarro. So that also seems to be a problem when it comes to creating money. Yes, we have created chance. Chance creation has not been a problem, but I think some of these chances have not been clear-cut enough and we have not been able to feed the center forward enough, Victor Osimhen, when it comes to converting chances. There's also a stat leading into the round of 16 that Victor Osimhen has been in an offside position 7 times at this African Cup of Nations. The reason why he's doing that is because he doesn't get the passes as soon as possible, and most times he moves into the offside position before the passes come to him. So I feel the midfield should be more closer to him. We should play more with an attacking midfielder that can create a chance, that can be closer to the center forward and create chances for the center forward. That's where maybe Kelechi Iheanacho comes into play. Can he play in this tactic, this formation? Can he play in this setup Jose Pizarro is using at this Nations Cup. Question marks about that. But I feel that's the way forward. If we want to get the money, we want to get the best out of our forwards and get the best out of our wingers as well when it comes to creating chances and scoring goals. We are creating chances. We have missed the highest number of big chances at the Nations Cup. But it's high time at the round of 16, the quarterfinals, if we get there, to start converting those chances and scoring goals if we want to progress at this AFCON.
So to you, Toby, Paul mentioned that they're always looking for Osimhen every time. Do you agree that that's a problem in itself, or do you think there's anything that Jose Pacero can do differently in terms of tactical setup, or maybe a Kelechi Iheanacho coming in would also change that? Do you think that can change?
Toby, Osimhen is Africa's best player. if Osimhen was in any of the teams in the AFCON, they would look for Osimhen. In Napoli, they look for Osimhen. They've struggled without Osimhen since he has been away. So why wouldn't you look for him? I would look for him if he was in my team. I want my team to look for him if I was coaching any team. So he's the best player in Africa. He's scoring in goals for his country, scoring in goals for his club side. So why not look for him in a tournament when you need goals? I don't think looking for Osimhen is the problem. I think converting our chances is the problem. And Osimhen has not only been the one at fault. Chukwueze has been at fault. Moses Simon has been at fault. We have to. These guys have to be accountable. They have to be responsible and get the chances and score the chances that they get. I think, like Paul rightly said, if Iheanacho comes in, he's going to do us a lot of good. Change the dimension, change the dynamics that we have been used to in the past 3 games at the group stage. Kelechi, he has this finesse about him. The way he caresses the ball.
Good left foot.
Good left foot. He can come in from the right cutting and score a corner like he did in the friendly game against Mozambique. I think that kind of quality has been missing in the team, and I feel if he comes in, there's also that bit of understanding between he and Osimhen. He will be able to see more combination play in the final third between Osimhen and Kelechi Iheanacho. Unfortunately, injury has not let him partake in this tournament so far. Hopefully, be available against Cameroon, and then he can maybe change that dimension for us in the final third, and then be less wasteful as well in set pieces. We've been dreadful, Toby. We've not utilized our set pieces at all, especially from deep wide areas where we can, send the ball into the box and look for a quick header. We have top players. Osimhen is tall, Sema Ajayi is tall. We've got Trustekon. These are tall guys. Even Frank is not so bad in terms of his height. These are guys that can get on the end of a good delivery, but delivery has not been coming forth. And hey, let me quickly chip this in. The Olaino throwing that we've been seeing so far. I've been very impressed. At least that's something
I have been as well. I've been as well.
Yeah. However, if they're watching this podcast, if someone in the Eagles Club are watching this podcast, let me tell you what you need to do. The Olaino throwing, get the top players to crowd the goalkeeper, and he should get the throwing as flat as possible as he can. His throwing is usually going like a projectile. That's not going to work for it. It needs to go flat towards the goalkeeper and get the top players like Osimhen, like Ekong, like Sema Ajayi. Let them crowd the goalkeeper, make him spill the ball if he can't catch it. If he spills it, what do? We can spill the second ball and then we can finish and get a goal easily from the throwing, which is something that you don't see often from the Nigerian team. So that is a weapon in our arsenal that I feel if we are more creative we can easily get more goals from the Olaino throwing. Yes.
Yeah. I think I agree with you there. We can actually get more from that delivery there because he's got some good throws on his sleeves there. So Paul, I'm going to come to you, right? Nigeria versus Cameroon when it comes to the AFCON, it's always been a game to remember. I remember back in 2000, right? We had them in the finals, and then we lost in the penalty shootouts thanks to Victor Peba's penalty that got in, and he didn't know the penalty went in. And also Kanu Wankwa.
We can't forget that day.
Kanu Wankwa, I remember
painful.
also Kanu Wankwa in that game, in that penalty also lost his own penalty kick and all. But ever since that game in the AFCON, every other time we have met them. I remember back in 2004 we met them well, thanks to the goals from, I think it was Kanu's Taka, that long
Kanu's,
we won them, and also thanks to Okocha's lovely free kick.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So same thing also. Yeah. So same thing. If you remember, back in 2019, we faced the Cameroon, and we also were victorious. So ever since we've met them, post the AFCON in 2000, we've always gotten the better of them, right, Paul? So what do you think in terms of the rivalry and all of that?
When it comes to the history of the African Cup of Nations, when it involves the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon and the Super Eagles of Nigeria, they have played themselves 8 times at the African Cup of Nations. Cameroon have won 3 times. Nigeria have won 3, the 7 times to be precise. 7 times we played at the African Cup of Nations. Nigeria have won 3 times at the African Cup of Nations. They have also won 3 times when it comes to the African Cup of Nations. And there's also been one draw between Cameroon and Nigeria at the African Cup of Nations. Funny enough, for the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, the 3 times they have defeated Nigeria at the African Cup of Nations has happened in the finals of the African Cup of Nations. They defeated Nigeria in 1984 at the Nations Cup in the finals. Funny enough, at the same stadium where the Super Eagles will play Cameroon in the round of 16 in Cote d'Ivoire in 2024, the Felix Ofe-Boigny Stadium. That's where they defeated Nigeria in the 1984 African Cup of Nations final. And in 1988, in Maroc 1988, the final of the African Cup of Nations in Morocco, they defeated Nigeria once again in the final. And in the year 2000, at the National Stadium, Surulere, Lagos, they defeated Nigeria via penalties as well. But for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, we've defeated them whenever we don't play Cameroon in the final of the competition. Defeated them when it comes to the third place match at Senegal 92, 2-1 to win the bronze medal at the expense of Cameroon. Also defeated them in the quarterfinals in the 2004 African Cup of Nations in Tunisia. Defeated them as well at the African Cup of Nations in 2019 in Egypt in the round of 16, 3-2. And we played out a 1-1 draw with them in the 1988 group stage of the African Cup of Nations that was hosted in Morocco. So when it comes to the African Cup of Nations, they have defeated Nigeria 3 times, but defeated them 3 times as well. So let's see who gets to win the 4th time at the African Cup of Nations when it comes to Cameroon versus Nigeria. So we'll see how that one plays out when it comes to the round of 16 games between Cameroon and the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Yeah, you're right there, Paul. Nice expository there. I come to you, Toby. The composition of the Super Eagles players, right? We have a mix of boys who didn't grow up in Nigeria, and a few of them who grew up in Nigeria, who kind of understand the history, the culture, the rivalry between Nigeria versus Cameroon, right? Do you think some of these foreign grown players who have in the camp, players like Olaino, Iwobi, do you think they understand
Taribo, Calvin
Haribo,
Bassey.
Kevin
Yeah.
Bassey? Do you think they understand the level of rivalry that exists between us and Cameroon?
To be, I'll be honest, I don't think they do, and you can't blame them. You know, these guys were not raised here, were not brought up here, and I can bet it with you, Toby, they didn't watch the Eagles during that era. You know, the era of Rigo Batong, the era of Mboma, Eto, Jeremy Injetab. You know, that was the nightmare that was the Cameroon nightmare. You know,
Kuma Jesse.
yeah. You know, so I'm
Kuma
sure
Jesse, if you remember.
yeah,
Nightmare.
you know, I'm sure these guys didn't experience all that time, so you can't blame them. You know, they grew up abroad, and you know they're not used to this rivalry between Nigeria and Cameroon. However, a couple of boys in the squad, like Sime, I'm sure you know would have an idea of what it means. The likes of Moses Simon, Chukwueze, you know, these guys that grew up here, they might be able to introduce the boys to this. Let them know this rivalry. Let them know what it's about. You know, you have to give your all. You have to literally die on the pitch, you know, to get the result against Cameroon. Likewise, Cameroon want to die on the pitch to get a result against us. So I don't think they will have a natural instinct about the importance of this game to the fans and to the government even of both countries. You know, this is a massive game that goes a long way, and you see the way these players play on the pitch. I remember then go back song. Oh my God, Toby, he was always a stalwart, you know, in defense for Cameroon. Even
Legend.
penalties, he wasn't shy to take penalties
Yes.
against
Legend.
Nigeria. You know, it's different. Even for the current Cameroonian squad, I'm sure a lot of them don't have that instinct anymore because a couple of them are foreign born, foreign bred. You know, they also might not
It goes
have.
both sides. That's what you're saying.
It goes both sides. Yeah, that's the trade-off. Once you start bringing in players who are not locally raised and locally bred to the national team, they might not really have that natural fire, you know, against some of these African nations. It's the same thing to be when you look at the derbies in England, say like the Merseyside derby, the North London derby. You know, the foreign players might not really understand the intensity of these games, but the English boys would know. You know, the London boys would know that listen, this is not London. We have to fight. You understand me? The way Harry Kane will fight in a London derby is different from the way someone like Richarlison will fight, you know, in the same derby. You know, that's the trade-off. You know, someone like Bukayo Saka who has been an Arsenal since age 5, age 6, would understand what it means to represent Arsenal against Tottenham in the North London derby. It's different from someone that was brought in, for a lot of money, that will just stroll on the pitch and do what he likes. So I think the government, the NFF, the sports ministry, they need to let the boys know. Maybe even show them clips, of those days,
Plus
and let
one
them
on
know
that.
let them know how passionate Nigerians are about playing against the likes of Cameroon and Ghana. Now we're playing against Cameroon in major tournaments. You have to die on the pitch. You have to give your all. So I feel if this communication is done to the boys, they would understand how important this game is to us.
Yeah, I think plus one on playing of the clips there. I totally agree with you on that position there. So Paul, I come to you, right? I know you follow the presser of the Super Eagles. Can you take us through the tidbits and all of the juice coming out of the Super Eagles camp in preparation for this game?
When it comes to the press conference that went down ahead of the game, ahead of the round of 16 game between Cameroon and the Super Eagles of Nigeria, for the coach of Cameroon, talked a whole lot about respecting the Super Eagles of Nigeria and also taking the game very seriously as they look to continue with the objective, which is to go far at the competition, and they're looking to win the game against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Also talked about Victor Osimhen being one of the best strikers in the world, playing with best top players at Napoli, and also maybe the best striker in Africa, that they respect Victor Osimhen, but they are not afraid of him. When he was asked if Clinton G and Vasson Abubakar will be available for the round of 16 game against the Super Eagles of Nigeria, he said, you guys will know when you see the lineup when it comes to that round of 16 games. So he was coy on telling the press or the media if Vasson Abubakar or Clinton Uchi, two experienced players that were at the Nations Cup when they won it last time out in 2017, if they were available for that round of 16 tie against Nigeria. So basically, Rigobertson focusing on the game and looking to win that particular game, says they are no longer in danger, that they know the danger, they are out of it at this point in time. And also, they are a team in progress. They have looked better as the competition continued, and they are looking to get the win in the round of 16. For Jose Pizarro, the Super Eagles coach, while addressing the media ahead of the round of 16 game, talked about him not looking to change his approach because they have continually created chances. So there's no need whatsoever to change the approach, and they'll be looking to score maybe just one goal and keep it tight and not concede against Cameroon and qualify. When he was asked about if he's bothered about Nigeria not scoring goals, he says the team has created a lot of chances, so he's not really bothered about them not scoring. As long as they keep it tight defensively, he's looking to keep the defense tight. And if one goal is scored, then they'll be through to the next round of the competition. When he was asked about why exactly are we not seeing Kelechi Iheanacho for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, he talked about Kelechi Iheanacho coming in late and also coming in with an injury. And he says, he was asking the media that, do you believe in him? If you believe in him, then eventually you will see Kelechi Iheanacho at the Nations Cup and he will score goals. So it's left to be seen if Kelechi Iheanacho would make the match day squad or even start the game against Cameroon when it comes to the round of 16. But it looks like that might just happen. Maybe we'll just see him play off the bench or maybe start the game against Cameroon. We didn't talk about injury, so it looks like there's a clean pin of health in the Super Eagles camp at this point. I didn't really talk about that. Just talk about them being focused on getting the results, scoring goals, and maybe keeping it tight defensively and qualifying into the round of the quarterfinals of the African Cup of Nations.
Nice breakdown there, Paul. But for me personally, I think I'm okay with us getting the win, even if it's gonna be like Moses Simon mentioned in the press conference, like even if it's gonna be 0-0, as long as we qualify for the next round. So for me, I think as long as we continue to win, I'm okay with us. Maybe if it's gonna be a one goal difference, I'm just okay. Just make sure you get yourself the result and get to the next round, right? Toby, for you, do you think the coach should change the setup and then be more adventurous going forward so that we get more goals, or you think this is just okay as long as we win?
I agree with you, Toby. 1-0 wins 10 times, I'll take it all day than losing 5-4 and scoring 4 goals. There's a famous football quote that defense win you titles and attack win you games. So winning 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, if you get all the way to the final, easily you win the title. So I think I'll stick with us winning 1-0, 1-0 and going all the way, as long as we are difficult to break down, difficult to score against.
Yes.
I think I think we can maintain that against even the top teams like Morocco. I think we are fine. You don't have to score a lot of goals to win the cup. We just need to be conservative, difficult to break down, difficult to beat, and then convert our chances. I think the coach has done well with the setup. He just needs to speak to the attackers. They need to speak to themselves, and then they need to convert the little chances that comes their way. They need to get 3-4 chances in a game to score. All you need is how many chances does Emily Yusue gets for Equatorial Guinea, and he converts them. But our strikers are not converting despite getting several chances in the game. Unfortunately, in the last game, VAR was unkind to us, chalked out a couple of goals, to offside and handball. But besides that, the attackers need to do more for us to get more goals.
Yeah, spot on there. If you remember the last AFCON, we're playing entertaining football, very sweet football to the eyes. And we came out of the group stage with 9 points, and we got to the second round.
Yeah.
We're beaten by 1 goal from Tunisia. So for me, I'll take the 3 points and qualification for the next round ahead of any entertainment football, really. So yeah, Paul, I come to you. In terms of the last 16 fixtures, I know you've been following the AFCON and the preparations of the other African teams. Can you take us through your predictions and what you think of the last 16 fixtures for the AFCON 2023?
Now, looking at the round of 16 fixture, the whole of interesting ties when it comes to the round of 16 at the African Cup of Nations. We have Angola versus Namibia. That's a South African derby between Angola, but I think Angola will be pretty good. Namibia will be decent, the Brave Warriors, but I think Angola is stronger. So I'll be leaning towards Angola to qualify ahead of Namibia. Funny enough, whoever wins between Nigeria and Cameroon gets to play the winner between Angola and Namibia in the quarterfinal. So let's see if Nigeria qualifies and gets to play Angola, because I'm tipping Angola to knock out Namibia. For Equatorial Guinea versus Guinea, I think I'll be going with Equatorial Guinea to qualify. I think they are stronger. Emilio Nsue, Pablo Garnett, Salvador, Iban Salvador, these 3 guys have been so good for the Equatorial Guinean side. So I just feel they'll be too strong for Guinea. I'll begin with them to defeat Guinea in the round of 16. For Cape Verde against Mauritania. Mauritania are pretty good, but I just feel the Cape Verdeans will be too strong for them as well. So I begin with Cape Verde to qualify. Egypt DRC, that's DR Congo. I think it's pretty tight, but I feel DR Congo would do enough to qualify at this place of Egypt. I feel Egypt have goals in them, but at the same time, defensively, they concede a lot of goals. DR Congo looks very disciplined defensively, and they have quality as well going forward. The likes of Cedric Bakambu, Yuan Visa as well, not forgetting other quality players off the bench. Silas, the guy that scored the equalizer against Morocco last time out as well. So I feel they have quality to shock the Egyptians. So I'll be going with DRC to qualify into the next round of the competition. Also, you have Mali, Burkina Faso, a West African derby. Mali stronger on paper compared to the Burkina Faso side. So I think I'll just lean slightly towards them, Mali to qualify. But I think that's going to be a tricky game. It looks like a very balanced game between the Eagles of Mali and the Stallions of Burkina Faso. But I'll just lean slightly towards Mali to qualify. Morocco versus South Africa looks on paper like David versus Goliath. And this time around, maybe Goliath will be winning in Morocco in quotes. I'll begin with Morocco to win this one. Morocco to defeat South Africa. I think Morocco are just too strong for them. Yes, their coach might not be available on the touchline. That is Wally Gregory after he was suspended for the altercation between him and Chancellor Mbemba in that group stage game between Morocco and DR Congo. But I just feel the stronger side on paper, Morocco will do enough to qualify against South Africa in that particular one. Senegal versus the host, Cote d'Ivoire. That's an interesting one as well. West African derby. Yes, Cote d'Ivoire struggled to qualified on the last day via the best player position. But this is a game where form will be thrown out of the window. The host nation plays in front of their fans in their new capital, Yamoussoukro, against Senegal, the defending champions. So it's going to be a tough game, keenly contested. But I just feel Senegal will edge it, maybe still into extra time, but I'm going with Senegal to knock out Cote d'Ivoire in that particular encounter. When it comes to the road to the finals for Nigeria, like I said earlier, Nigeria, if they defeat Cameroon in round of 16, will play the winner between Angola and Namibia. And if Nigeria qualifies from that quarterfinal, a big if they qualify from that quarterfinal, they go into the semifinals to play the winner between the game involving Morocco and South Africa and the game involving Cape Verde and Mauritania, Cape Verde and Mauritania. So Cape Verde versus Mauritania, and you have Morocco versus South Africa. Whoever wins on paper, based on my prediction, I'll say Morocco versus Cape Verde in the quarterfinals, and I will be leaning towards Cape Verde to knock them out. So I feel if Nigeria goes through the ordeal of Cameroon and maybe Angola, we have a possibility of seeing a semi-final involving Nigeria and the Blue Sharks of Cape Verde in the semi-final. It looks like a tough one if it's Cape Verde, even if it's the Atlas Lions Morocco, looks like a tough one. Who said the Bafana can't get to the semi-finals and play Nigeria as well if Nigeria gets through the ordeal of Cameroon and also maybe Angola or Namibia in the quarterfinals. So let's see how that one plays out for the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Yeah, nice one there, Paul. That's very insightful, really. Yeah. So I come to you, Paul. What are your final thoughts and predictions of the game Nigeria versus Cameroon?
When it comes to my final thought going into that game in the round of 16, I think it's going to be keenly contested. The Cameroonians have quality in the middle of the park. They have scored goals. They have scored 5 goals at this competition. But at the same time, they have a big problem when it comes to keeping it tight defensively. They have conceded 6 goals. During the press conference, the coach, Rigo Besson, was asked about the goalkeeping department. He said he had no problems with the goalkeepers, and he has 27 players that are very good, and he can use any one of those players. And they have an history of having very good goalkeepers. So it's all about him alternating goalkeepers, and the best at that particular time will be the one in goal for Cameroon. So it's left to be seen, will it be Fabrice Ontoa that will be in goal in the round of 16 against Nigeria, or will be his cousin from Manchester United, Andre Onana. So they have a quality side. Also, when it comes to Vincent Abubakar and also Clinton and Jay, it's left to be seen if they will be available for that game. If they are available for that game, makes them stronger going forward, especially the captain Abubakar. When it comes to that particular one, makes them stronger going forward. So strong team, definitely. The Super Eagles, yes, the coach needs to be leaning towards the same approach. So I won't be surprised if we see another 3-4-3 formation from Joseph Pizarro in the round of 16 against Cameroon. But at the end of the day, I just feel the extra the Cameroonians have when it comes to goal scoring might just help them over Nigeria. So I'm going with Cameroon to knock out Nigeria. Maybe in the knockout stage, maybe in the extra time or via penalties. I just feel Cameroon this time around would defeat the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So I'm going with, I don't know about the scoreline. The scoreline doesn't come to mind at this point in time, but I'm leaning towards Cameroon to qualify into the quarterfinals at the expense of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I hope my prediction doesn't come to fruition, but I'm leaning towards Cameroon to qualify into the quarterfinals.
But you need to be more specific. Give us the actual result, actual scores. You need to be more specific.
Okay, since you're insisting, I'll be going with Cameroon to defeat the Super Eagles of Nigeria 2-1. It could happen in 90 minutes, could be in extra time, but I'm just leaning towards the Cameroonian national team to defeat the Super Eagles 2-1 and progress into the quarterfinals of the African Cup of Nations.
Toby, over to you. What are your predictions? Nigeria versus Cameroon. I can see you smiling already.
Toby, we have to win. I don't agree with Paul. We have to win. I believe with our new shape and considering the fact that Cameroon have not been doing too well, they've not been scoring a lot of goals as well. Vincent Abubakar is not available for them. However, Ekombi is available. I feel with our defensive shape, with a 3 or 5 man defense, we should be able to keep him quiet. The prolific attacker Ekombi. I feel Nigeria should be too much for the Cameroonians to handle. I don't pray the game goes into extra time or penalties because that is where it might be trouble for us. So I believe in 90 minutes, Nigeria should be able to get 1-0 against Cameroon. Our typical 1-0, Toby. 1-0, 1-0, 1-0.
Okay.
Even if it's an own goal.
Let's give it to us and let's go to the next round. Okay, that's interesting. You're going all out for 1-0. So for me, I think the game is going to end in a 1-1 draw. I can see this match going into a penalty shootout, and I think Nigeria will qualify for the next stage via penalty shootouts. That's what I see. I might be wrong.
My
Hopefully,
BP will be off the roof.
I can imagine. I can imagine. I can imagine. Yeah, I'm going to leave this to the viewers. Tell us, what do you think? What are your predictions for the game Nigeria versus Cameroon? Do you see Nigeria qualifying for the quarterfinals after this game? I believe so, but hopefully your predictions come to pass. It's been a nice time on the show today. You guys, please follow us on all platforms, on Instagram, Football Buffet, on YouTube, Football Buffet, and subscribe, and so that you can get all of our contents coming from the Football Buffet kitchen. Yeah. Toby, final comments.
Well, Toby, we are on a good path. Looks like we'll bring you home. Our pathway just has Morocco as the toughest opponent, and that might be in the semi-finals. So if we win in the second round, quarterfinals might be facing either Angola or Namibia. I pray we'll face Namibia, and then we'll be facing Morocco in the semi-final, and then to the finals. Toby, it is coming home.
Let's hope so. It's too early. It's this coming home. All right. It's been a nice one. Everyone, have a great day. Hopefully, Nigeria wins. Bye bye now.